Good morning from the Eagle's Nest. Two things today. I'm going to cover both of these classes. So please listen. In Oklahoma history today, we're going to be talking about the Bedlam series. First and foremost, I want you guys to find out what in the world the term Bedlam means. Bedlam is a big thing here in Oklahoma, pertaining to two pretty important universities. I want you guys to look at it, read about it, give me a little bit of history. Where did it actually come from? What's the term? There is a specific sport that Bedlam is attached to. So go on there and write about a paragraph and tell me what Bedlam is and how Bedlam got applied and attached to Oklahoma history. You can also tell me why I'm asking you about Bedlam, and whether you are a fan or whether you're not a fan. Please make sure that you go on there and check it out and make sure that assignment gets submitted. If you have any questions, please ask me, message me on Canvas. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at your assignments, I'm reading your assignments, I'm grading your assignments, I'm giving you zeros for people that are not turning in your assignments. This is, again, a reminder, it's not springtime. You have to make sure that your assignments are turned in. If they're not turned in, they're going to be zeros, and your grade will plummet. We're probably still going to stay on distant learning after Thanksgiving break, I could imagine, or I would imagine, because all of the cases that are popping up. Our staff is hurt, our bus drivers are hurt, our administration is hurt. So we have to do a good job of this, and you have to do a good job. Just get a, I'm not putting a time frame on it. You don't have to be on first period to do first period. You can do these assignments anytime you want, but make sure that you're doing the assignments. We are doing a lot of text box entry, which I think is one of the best ways to do this. I'm cherry picking and doing a lot of different ideas in Oklahoma history that I think are pretty interesting, not necessarily just by the book, but I'm trying to do some stuff that I feel and you should think different and very interesting. So make sure that you guys are and gals are turning in your assignments. Do a good job. Have some fun with it. I don't know which side of the aisle that you're on, but I'm a Sooner, and I hope this weekend that my team, the Oklahoma Sooners, take care of business. That's a hint, okay? You find out what the rest of it is. Please write about it. Please submit it. I want to read I really read some interesting stuff from you guys, whether it's the Veterans Day, etc. I've read some really interesting stuff. So please do me a favor. Make sure that you go on Canvas, do your assignments, look on Canvas, do your assignments, submit those assignments, and you should be plugging along pretty well. Okay? Find out what Bedlam is. We just got through doing an assignment. You just got through doing an assignment over religions and different religions throughout the world and how they developed. Today, kind of a contrast of religions, a very important sociological question throughout the history of, throughout the recent history in the 19th century. A guy by the name of Charles Darwin and wrote a book, something called The Origin of Species, and what he talks about is evolution. Now, evolution is a very polarizing topic, and the reason being is because you're going to have a clash between science and religion, which happens quite a bit. I think it's interesting that you do a little bit of research. It's not science, but it's social science. If you guys read and try to get a good understanding of who Charles Darwin was, he's got a really interesting history. He has many different ventures that he goes into before Origin of Species. He has a very interesting family, including a grandfather and father and brother. So if you guys look in there and read a little bit about Charles Darwin, and maybe do it objectively and don't necessarily assert yourself and maybe even your belief system into it, and find a little bit about the guy that, not so responsible, but the guy that brought evolution to the forefront in the world, and especially here in America, and created a lot of debate and a lot of issues over his theories. It's an interesting study, though. Find out who he is, find out his background, put on Canvas, on your text entry, how you feel about Charles Darwin and the theory of evolution, because in the United States and in the world, the separation, the polarizing issue of evolution clash head-to-head with the clash head-to-head with science and sociology and religion is very important. Matter of fact, in our society, even today in 2020, it's still a conversation that gets pretty heated and a conversation that is hotly debated. and that's 2020. So since this creation, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't read the whole thing. I've read parts of it. It's a long, complicated book, but I have read a lot of summaries, and I've read about Charles Darwin. Not necessarily expert on evolution, which would be hard to be, but I will say this, it's very interesting. Regardless of how you believe, it's great. You believe one way, if you believe the other way, that's your business. It's absolutely great that you have that system, but do it objectively and read about it. Write down his theories, write whether you do disagree or agree with it. It's a private paper. I'll look at it, and that's the only person that's going to look at it, so you can be as honest as possible. I certainly will not grade or judge based on how you believe. I'll grade and judge based on the information that you provide. I think it's very interesting to hear how people believe. If you want to take yourself out of it completely, feel free to just write about the differences. You don't have to say, I believe this or I believe that. You can go on there and write about the differences and describe for me the difference between evolution and possibly creationism. It's a good conversation. It's a sociological question that we've had and that we've dealt with since the 19th century. So please go on there, look at your makeup work, make sure your assignments are submitted. You can message me at any time until about noon, and then at noon I have to go into wrestling and do a bunch of work getting prepared for that. But I will continue to look at this, so make sure that you're getting your assignments submitted. Make sure you're keeping up with it. It's not springtime. Your grade does plummet. I do put in zeros. Your grade will go down. It's not the springtime. We will probably be on distant learning when we come back from Thanksgiving. So the better we get at this, the more complicated that I can actually get. Text box entry is something that I really enjoy. You are going to have some multiple choice quizzes and tests that are coming up. I'm still working on those questions about peer pressure, etc. So please do me a favor, do your assignments, submit your assignments, and I'll check back in with you tomorrow from the Eagle's Nest.